Straya, how are you going? Hey, you're right, you should be, especially if you're a Knicks fan, because your New York City Knickerbockers of New York City are NBA Cup champions. Champions. That's nice. It is Hump Day, Wednesday, December 17. I'm your host, James Clemens, here at Larryama Studios. This is the best and worst stuff of the NBA today. Let's get into it with the daily. Whip around. That's right. Adam Silver got up in front of the media today and was grilled very nicely. I want to just say Vegas is fantastic. Okay, Adam. More gaslighting from the NBA. I love the NBA and its gaslighting. Like, Adam Silver does more gaslighting than any other commissioner of a major sport we've ever seen. It's all like, yes, well, we need to definitely sort this out, don't we? I don't know who could be empowered to do... Adam, you're doing nothing. You've spent, ever since David Stern pissed off, you've done nothing. You've made a lot of money and you've done nothing. We're looking at expansion. Yeah, you've been looking at expansion for 10 years. Just do it, you idiots. Oh, we're in the process of working with our teams, engaging the level of interest. Just get him on the phone, you idiot. What is going on? Anyway, so sometime in 2026, he says, we'll make a determination as to whether anything will happen going forward with the expansion. Okay, we're in the process of working with our teams, engaging the level of interest and having a better understanding of what the economics would look like, and having a better understanding of what the economics would be on the ground for those particular teams and what a pro forma would look like for them. And then sometime in 2026, we'll make a determination. Just bloody do it. Now, any expansion teams we had between 1989 and 2004? 1 million. You know how many we've had since? None. Adam Silver has presided over the most just insanely rich era of NBA basketball, while all the owners do nothing but hoard wealth. It's crazy. Expand to 2 teams. Go to 32, you cowards. Bring back my beloved, taps his hat, Seattle Supersonics. And the other one, with some more gaslighting by the NBA and Adam Silver, was the Terry Rozier situation, where it's like, we're looking into the possibility of giving Miami some sort of satisfactory relief. Gross, because he can't play. This is an unprecedented situation. Just make a bloody decision, Adam. I don't know what is going on with the NBA and with Adam Silver, but they just can't make decisions. It is crazy how often they have their hands tied behind their backs by themselves. Oh, we don't know who could fix this situation. We're all trying to find the guy who did this. It was you. You get to make the decision on the Terry Rozier situation. He's been charged with a crime. We need to let it all play out. Just say whether or not they can trade him. Or do they get a disabled player exception? Just make a decision, you cowards. Anyway, hey, the NBA Cup was awesome. I loved this NBA Cup. The final was awesome. The semis were great. It's kind of weird that the NBA is afraid of its own shadow at all times, right? Because it's like, oh, we weren't entirely sure about the crowds at the semifinal, and then today it rocked. I told you on yesterday's NBA Straya, there's a very simple way to fix this. Just, if you're going to keep it at a neutral venue, make sure people have got enough warning and time that they can go to Vegas if they want, if they're a neutral fan, like your kind of mate Jim, because you've taken away my team and never given me one back, you flogs. But, Vegas rocks for Summer League because it's just this is when Summer League is on. Some stuff will be going down and people flock to it. Just do the same thing with this and you'll be fine, you idiots. But anyway, that was an awesome NBA Cup final, a great game between the Knicks and the Spurs. And of course, your New York Knickerbockers of New York City have won their first anything in the NBA since 1993. But Jim, they won the Eastern Conference in 1999. That doesn't count. You made the finals, you didn't win them. 1973, they won the NBA title. And in 2025, they've won the NBA Cup. What a world. 124-113. This game ruled. Really, really fun game. The Spurs kept eking out these decent-ish leads. They could never put away the Knicks. At the half, it was 61-59 after the Knicks had sort of fought back. OG had 20 at the half. Brunson was looking pretty good. A bunch of the Spurs had all contributed. Wemby had come on. Wasn't looking quite as dangerous as he did prior against the Thunder. It's kind of weird. It felt like the Spurs just always felt just that tiny little bit of hints off their game, as opposed to when they played the Thunder in the semis, right? When they were playing in the semis, they looked like a pack of velociraptors. In this game, they were hitting some shots. They'd also have like these weird sort of brain farts left, right, and center. It was just kind of odd. And the Knicks just hung around, and then they pounced. And it was like absolutely gnarly. Like they got up 8 out of the half. It was like 69, nice, to 61. And you had like these moments where Castle was looking incredible. They got up like 11 at one point. There's like a streak by Wemby in the third quarter. He's like that alley-oop. He hits a couple of threes. There's a block in there. There's a mid-range jumper. It was gnarly. And then it all went a little bit squirrely. They're only up 94-89 going into the fourth quarter because Brunson started hitting some shots. And then, bang, the start of the fourth quarter, Jeremy Clarkson hits that big three. They get a steal from Mitch Robinson, the other Mitch Robinson. He gets an O-board. They get another three. There's like this 13-1 run by the Knicks, capped by like 9.5 minutes left in the game. OG just nails a three. The Knicks are up 5. And you're like, what the hell just happened? So at one point, I think it was a 92-81 Spurs lead, right? The Knicks then rattle off a 37-18 run that only got crazier. I think there was 11 offensive rebounds in that run as well. It was just absolutely nuts. And like halfway through the fourth quarter, the Knicks are still up 106-105. Like Mitch Robinson is just dominating on the offensive rebounds. I think at that point they had 30 second chance points. So they end up with 32 second chance points for the game. It's absolutely crazy. There's that awesome run where Wemby hits a couple of free throws. They get it back to 107-110. Brunson hits a floater. There's only 3.5 minutes to go. Fox has a turnover after getting blocked by Josh Hart, who's already pinged his knee. He's on one leg, blocks it. Then Hart goes up and hits a three. Boom. They're up 8 again. That's their biggest lead of the game. Harper answers with a three. It's 115-110. Knicks turnover and over a back with Brunson. Harper was incredible. They have a miss. OG hits another three and an amazing pass from Tyler Kolek. And Tyler Kolek just made this NBA Cup final the Tyler Kolek game. Yeah, that's what happened. 118-110. Spurs turnover. They get the ball back. They turn it over in the inbounds anyway. Can't get the rebound off a Knicks miss. That's the story of the game. Spurs miss. Absolute chaos, right, down the stretch. Fox misses another three. He's meant to be like super duper clutch, couldn't buy a bucket. And that was that, to the point where they're still scoring down the stretch, which is pretty crazy, but just sinking the boot in. So for the Spurs, like it was just kind of a bit of a weird one. Luke Cornett was good, right? 14 and 6. Wemby was fine, 18 points, but it came on 7 of 17 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, only 6 rebounds, which is pretty crazy for a bloke who's 7'40". He was a minus 18, which is a huge switch from his OKC game, where in 21 minutes he was a plus 22 or whatever, right? 21 from Dylan Harper, he was fantastic. 5 of 7 from deep. Hadn't been able to buy a 3 all year up until this point. 0 assists for Harper, though, a bit of a weird one. Stephon Castle, 12 assists, 7 rebounds, 15 points, 5 of 15 shooting. Vassell, 12 points on 4 of 14 shooting. Fox, only 16 points, 5 of 13, 5 turnovers, 9 assists. And they just didn't quite have enough, right? The rebounding was crazy. They get 42 rebounds to 59 for the Knicks. The Knicks hit 15 of 40 from downtown. They get 28 from Anunoby. He was unreal. 16 from Cat with 11 rebounds. He had 11 and 11 for Hart and Bridges. Hart hits that massive three late. 25 for Brunson on 11 of 27 shooting. We knew the Spurs were going to make him work, and they did. 15 for Jeremy Clarkson. He was great down the stretch, and Tyler Kolek made this the Tyler Kolek game. What a game it was. Great win for the Knickerbockers. You can now hang that cup banner next to, I don't know, like the 1973 NBA championship one, the Liberty banner, maybe. Who else? Billy Joel. Do Fish have a banner? Fish should have a banner. They play there all the time. Anyway, good stuff. Awesome win for the Knicks. Kolek was incredible. Brunson sort of like, he out-clutched Fox and Wemby and co. Cat was like, he sat for a big chunk of the time as well, came back in and was pretty instrumental. Mitch was dominating those O boards. He ends up with 15 rebounds and 4 points. What a great game by Mitch. Let's do an NBA Straya approved performance of the day for the NBA Cup Final.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
That is a knife. OG Anunoby. He kept them in this game early, hit that massive three late, and did kind of everything. He's the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to this Knicks team. When he's playing, they barely ever lose. It's crazy. 28 points, 9 rebounds, 5 of 10 from 3, 10 of 17 overall, 3 assists, 0 turnovers, which was crazy in this really, really tight game. He was awesome. Honorable mention's got to go to Brunson despite the 25 points on 27 shots. He had 8 assists and the clutch shot making that he had. It's such a relief when you've got a dude like that on your team where you're like, it's okay. If we get in a spot of bother, we'll just give it to Jalen Brunson. And usually he delivers. And he had a couple of shots down the stretch there. He was a plus 15 in a game that they win by 11 rather, 124, 113. And only really took control down the stretch, right? In 41 minutes, he was a plus 15. Not bloody bad. Spud of the night.
Spud, 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 it is Spud of the night.
Spud of the night. I'll tell you what, this is probably Devin Vassell for me. 4 of 14 shooting. You had 5 of 15 for Castle. You had 7 of 17 for Wemby. So when you got 3 of your big dudes missing 30 shots, 10 each between them, right? It's a lot very quickly. But Vassell was the one that stuck out because he kind of, when he's not hitting shots, there's not a giant amount else really going on. 2 of 7 from deep. When you've got Harrison Barnes, Black Falcon going 0 of 4 from deep, you've suddenly got 2 starters. What's that? 2 for 11 from downtown. Just not good enough, really, for the 2 dudes who are meant to be sort of like cornerstones of your wing rotation. And no one shot the magic number, so a bit of a rough one. Who was old mate, no mates?
Old mate, no mates. Old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mates.
Who's got no mates today? The other Mitch Johnson, the Spurs coach, getting calls overturned left, right, and centre. I reckon they just hate him. The funniest one was they had that 3 that went in. They had the Cornet foul, so they wipe away the 3, and then they overturn the foul, and they get a turnover. And it was just the dumbest array of stuff that happened. He's like, that was a rubbish. He swears, he uses naughty words. Does Mitch Johnson gets his challenge, gets another one later. He's absolutely crushing these, but they come out of it, I think, with exactly 0 points. It was brutal. I reckon the refs are like, "You're not Pop. Shut up, son." The other one was old mate, no mates, is Stan Van Gundy. I've got a bit of time for Stan, but you can tell that he does a lot of ESPN radio rather than the TV now. So he's doing this for Prime, obviously. And he kind of talks for the sake of talking a lot of the time. And I think with the broadcast, it's a bit different to the radio cast. Where the radio, you're kind of explaining a lot of what's happening and you're kind of trying to make sure that there's not much dead air. But in a TV broadcast, he just doesn't shut up. And at one point, D-Wade does something and he has to say something straight away. Stan, let D-Wade land his joke or do his song. D-Wade was singing at one point and Stan's like, I'm not going to join in. It's like, Stan, shut up. No one was asking you to. So he was copping a bit of grief on the internet, and it was well understood, I think, because, look, I think Stan's a decent commentator. He doesn't quite have, the grouchy old bastard vibes of Jeff Van Gundy. And, yeah. Another old mate, no mate, speaking of which, is Chris Paul. There was the giant big story that came out today behind the scenes of Chris Paul being booted. And it just seems like he was trying to basically tell everybody what they should do and how to do it. And they were like, nah, that's not what we do here at the LA Clippers. We have a tradition of heritage of being absolute morons who lose all the time. Don't come in here with your let's win these games and be accountable approach. Come on, we can't do that here. Look at Kawhi. And Chris Paul's like, I can't. He's not here. It's like, that's exactly right. Let's sweep all this under the rug. You have to go home and we're going to get rid of you. it's just like the exact same thing. It happens all the time with like really weak leadership, right? It's like, I can't hold anyone else accountable to do anything. So if you're trying to hold people accountable, you have to go. Yeah, right. Good stuff. Better than Bronny James. Oh, wait, Pantsing of the night. That's right. The other Mitch Robinson having 10 offensive rebounds when you've got a 7'40" French alien. How does that? That's an absolute pantsing by the Knicks. Wemby doesn't have to jump and he's taller. Like, he puts his arms up and he's going to be like 2.5 feet taller than Mitch Robinson. What are you doing? How do you have 6 rebounds when you're that big? How do you let them get 10 offense? That is an all-time pantsing. Mitch Robinson, amazing. There was an incredible run where he had like 4 offensive rebounds. It leads to like one of his dunks and like 2 Jordan Jeremy Clarkson threes, right? And you're like, that's kind of the difference of the game. Where at that point, the Spurs got absolutely pantsed, Wemby included, by Mitch. They couldn't get a rebound, sucked in. Tough scenes. Better than Bronny James, Lonzo Ball, and Ben Simmons.
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. We're coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. Tyler Kolak, what an awesome, awesome game. He's got Steve Nash's like 2006 haircut. Doesn't quite play like Steve Nash, but there's a bit of that to him. Like he's like, I'll check this out. I'm going to dribble down the baseline. You're like, I've seen that before. You do the full Leo DiCaprio meme. Whoa, hey, I've seen that. Looks like, Steve Nash in his pomp. 14 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and crucially, 1 turnover in 20 minutes. He was awesome. 5 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 5 from deep. Bang. Wins the Knicks their first ever NBA Cup, their first anything since 1973. Tyler Kolak, you absolute weapon. That was awesome. Right, and there you go. That's it. That was the NBA Cup final. It rocked. Awesome game. I loved every second of it. Look, we'll probably do a big yeah-nah on Friday's show, right, about the NBA Cup, the viability. And you know my position. Expand it, make it longer, make it bigger, make it better. This isn't rocket surgery. Why are we finishing it like 8 days out from Christmas? Right? It's bizarre. It's just a bonkers. Oh, well, we need to. No, just make it longer. Go to the start of All-Star break, you idiots. Anyway, no Australian Player Watch because we didn't have any Aussies involved today for the Knicks or the Spurs. So let's do a quick couple of previews for tomorrow's games. We've only got the 2, but you can still find all of our picks over at Dabble. You can hit the link in our show description or our social bios. Get right around it. If that's your thing, you can follow along with everything that we do. We have Cleveland versus Chicago tomorrow in Chicago. The Bulls are 5.5-point underdogs at home. There is something a little bit janky about Cleveland, however, right now. I'm going to take the Bulls plus 5.5. I think. Look, the Bulls have been horrible, right? They've lost, 8 of their last 9. Atrocious gear. But the Cavs haven't been too much better. They've got Donnie Mitchell, I get that. They've got Go the Fro, Jared Allen, Darius Rucker, Judy Garland is back. They've got some of their dudes. They don't have Evan Mobley. The Bulls, with a little bit of a mini break there, plus 5.5. If the Bulls are going to do anything outside of just be horribly, horribly mediocre, which is, again, a tradition of heritage unlike no other, basically, since the end of the Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Carlos Boozer era. But the Bulls, plus 5.5, just at home, it feels like Cleveland is just a bit wobbly. And the Bulls, I think, can take a little bit of advantage of this. I don't really trust them to because they also kind of suck, but I'm going to take the plus 5.5 at home. And Memphis, Minnesota is the second game tomorrow. Memphis are 7.5-point underdogs in Minnesota. You presume that Ant-Man's probably okay to go with his ankle. 7.5 feels like a little bit too much, though. Memphis, yes, they don't have Zach Edey. Ja Morant is back. Jalen Wells, Cedric Coward, and most importantly, Triple J have been playing out of their skin. Ja's been pretty horrible since he came back, but suddenly you've got whatever Spencer they've got. Is it Pat? I think it's Pat. Which one's which and which one's on the Grizzlies, Jim? I'm pretty sure Pat's on the Grizzlies and Cam's on the Warriors, right? Let's check this. Cam Spencer is on the Grizzlies. Pat is on the Warriors. Good job. The Grizzlies are 7.5-point underdogs. going into this Minnesota game, the Wolves haven't been wildly convincing. Gobert ought to be back. I don't know. He left halfway through the last game. His misso might have been having a baby. I don't know what was going on there. But either way, I'm going to go the Grizzlies plus 7.5. It feels like a couple of points too high, right? When you've got Jar, Coward, Wells, Santi Aldama, Triple J up against a Wolves team that every so often will get going and smoke a team, but then just also every so often they just don't really have it going. And you're like, it does seem important to have a point guard. And it's like Dante DiVincenzo. Like they've got most of their dudes now, but yeah. I'll take the Grizz to keep that one close in Minnesota. Nice. And remember, find all the picks over at Dabble. Hit up the link in the show description or the social bios. And I reckon that is it for today. That's it for the NBA Cup, the 2025 edition. Let me know what you reckon about the NBA Cup, and I'll do a bunch of nahs on Friday's show about it. So sing out what you reckon. Did you enjoy it? Did you like the crazy courts? Do you like my idea of having a different coloured ball the away team gets to choose? That sort of stuff. I love that idea. Anyway, that's it for the best and worst of the NBA Cup final today. Tune in to NBA Straya every day, of course, for everything NBA. Subscribe or I will fight you. Get us, on all the socials, all that sort of stuff. And you can see me on NBA Coffee Run every morning, as well as Jim does Supercoach, which will be doing the NBA Supercoach before Week 8 kicks off tomorrow, and NFL Supercoach on there as well. And NFL Straya, really massive Week 15. All right, this is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would you? And later, hosen. Go Knicks!